Family saga. On Wednesday, LaVar announced that he'll be launching the Junior Basketball Association, a league for high school grads that don't want to go to college. He plans to pay up to $10 grand a month to the top players and says it is, quote, going to be easy to fill 10 teams. All right, CC, what do you make of this?
Okay, well, let's just go on the premise that this is gonna happen. All right,
it's a hell of a premise.
The big premise.
Yeah. Okay, so he's got 10 teams. All right, we're gonna have 12 players on each team. All right, we could say as much as 14 players because you need a couple players because the players are going to get injured.
Sure.
LaVar probably doesn't know that now. I'm sure all the particulars have not been worked out. So right now, what we're looking for is 120 to 140 high school graduates that don't want to go to college. Now, either they graduated from high school either in the last 3 years or they graduated last year. Now, why would I trust LaVar Ball with my career compared to going to John Calipari in Kentucky for 2 semesters, and he's saying his top player is going to get 10 grand, the bottom player is going to get 3 grand a month. Let's say the season's 6 months.
Right, which is probably longer than it would be.
Yeah, let's just say that as a bookmark.
When people hear 10 grand a month, you think, oh, 120 grand. This ain't no 12-month situation.
No.
So again, I think it'd be 4, but
we're
call
just
it 6 months.
guesstimating.
Let's call it 6 months for the top players.
Right.
So the top players would get 60 grand.
60 grand.
You said at the low end, 3 times 6 would be 18 grand.
18 grand. Now, I'm not giving away a college scholarship to train with LaVar Ball in some junior NBA association with. What kind of team doctors they going to have? What kind of team trainers they going to have? Is he coaching one of the teams?
What's the travel?
Where do you get the 10 coaches from? First, we got to make these teams. Forget about travel. Like, where are we going to get these 10 coaches from that can develop these high school graduates, all right, that can make that next step? Is he in charge of that, the training and the coaching? So I don't think this is going to happen. But if you're a young kid out there and if you trust your future in Mr. Ball compared to trusting the system that we have in place as far as the college system where you can go to Duke, you can go to Kansas, you can go to Kentucky, all of those things just for 2 semesters compared to going to this league and your chances, like, I'm not trusting my career, all right? All right, he's not my dad. He can't make me do that. He can't make me go to Lithuania, all right? Kids need their education, and trying to promote a league that's taking education away from kids, that is not a successful route to a journey in life. Education should be promoted. It shouldn't be taken away from kids. Now, I'm not giving away my scholarship, and I know through Coach Cal and other coaches, when you sign to go to Kentucky, that's a 4 to 6 year commitment. Even if you go pro, University of Kentucky will allow you to come back and get your degree, and they will pay for it. So why would you go to a junior association that's not going to pay for any of your education? And how can Mr. Ball think that a kid without an education is going to be successful?
Well, neither of his 2 kids he pulled them from school.
And so, well, here's the other part of it. I bet people right now are yelling at their TVs, oh, the guys that could go to Kentucky and Kansas and Duke, those aren't the guys that are playing in this league. It's the smaller school guys. Well, the smaller school guys are the ones that definitely need the degree. Because they're not going pro. Like
it's so obvious.
But I want to. Here's the thing. This is the second thing LaVar has done that theoretically, I love the idea of it. I love the idea theoretically. Hold on, Cece, just hear me out on this before you start shaking your head. I love the idea of someone trying to challenge the NCAA paradigm. I think it's like when he started marketing the shoes for LaMelo. I loved the idea of someone trying to fight the NCAA. Forget the school paying the player. Why can't a separate entity pay my son the way a kid on I was on every academic scholarship Syracuse offered. I still got paid to do radio. I didn't lose my student eligibility at the student radio station. I want that fight to be had. But LaVar wasn't interested in that fight. He then just moved the kid to Lithuania. I like the idea of there being a well-funded, well-run alternative for kids that don't want to do the one-and-done situation. But this is not going to be that. You started this on the premise of, let's assume it's going to happen. I would lay 100 to 1. This is not actually going to happen. But if it were to happen, it is, again, from the way I can think of it, and maybe we'll all be proven wrong. This is good for one person. It's good for LaVar because we're talking about him again. I don't see the scenario where this ends up being something that is great for these high school graduates.
I think in his mind, he thinks this could be, even if it's not in his mind, if there's any part of him that thinks this is some semblance of a feeder system into the NBA that you can bypass college, he's out of his mind. You call this a potentially well-funded, well-run league. If it was done right, it wouldn't be either of those two things if he did it. It's one of those things where he's quickly putting something together without thinking about 100% of what's actually involved in getting kids where they're giving you their lives, they're giving you their future, and they're saying, well, okay, what do you want us to do? You already pulled your 2 kids from school, now you're asking all these other kids who actually need the education because they're not good enough to earn a college scholarship, and you're asking them to say, bypass that, come on.
Jenna, even if they're great, I played 16 years in the NFL. I majored in communication and broadcasting at Ohio State. I've been in broadcasting 16 years. So forget if they're going to make it or not. You guys are acting like, oh, well, these are for the kids, like if they're going to make it or not. You need your education even if you make it in the league. I mean, when are we going to, as a society, put the importance on education? The education is more important than the athletics. Why? Because you're going to be living a lot longer than you're going to be dribbling and shooting, catching passes. All right? And that, I know, as one of the greatest athletes that's ever played in the NFL, my education was far more important than the platform that Ohio State gave me.
Right. All right, coming up, are the Eagles still the NFC's best team with Nick Foles? That's next on First Things First.